Same thing happened to me yesterday. We'd like to welcome you to the June 3rd edition of So What Zoomcast. And this is brought to you in part by Fox Chapel Publishing, Banyan Boutiques, and quiltwoman.com. Deb and I are here. We are your hostesses with the absolute mostesses. And we have our guest, Barbara Wolfe from a Winding Thread quilting company, I guess. Winding Thread Designs, and she's going to talk to you in a couple minutes. We are recording this to put this up on YouTube, so please don't record or video any part of this program. We're all learning Zoom. We're getting better, but we're still learning. If you have any questions for us or our guests, there's a chat feature that if you hover your cursor down at the bottom, it says chat. It will pop up in the right-hand side. And if we don't see it, one of the other hosts will call our attention to it and we can answer that for you. We do have, later on in the broadcast, we have door prizes, and they're cool. We have 4 today. And we'll give you your warning now. We want to see what's in your glass. And if we will drink it, you will win a door prize. You'll hear that noise, and that means you won. If we won't drink it, again later. So be aware and have something that you think we might want to drink. I will share what I have in my glass. Actually, I have a pitcher. Okay, I have a Malibu Bay Breeze pitcher. So if there's evidence, Levi, I do have evidence. And I poured the rum into the pitcher, and I added enough cranberry juice and pineapple juice so it will tint the rum appropriately. So, I mean, so Deborah, what is in your glass?
I have a lovely Chardonnay. Even though it's a little early for me, but
Stop. Just drink it. Good. I'm going to introduce our guest, and she'll share what's in her glass. Now, Barbara Wolfe, she's a friend of ours. She's a personal friend of ours, and she lives in Ballston Spa, New York. She does a lot of long arm quilting, not just for us, but for other big people, and she'll tell you about them. But before her quilting life began, she was an agent for State Farm Insurance, and she probably knows Jake. Does he really wear pants?
Sometimes.
Oh, you got pants on, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, one of our quilts in New York Beauty Electrified was actually named for Barbara. Boston Spa Blues. When you see that,
There you go.
that's who it's named for. And Scarsdale Stars for us. And she quilted a coral for us. So, okay. So we're gonna highlight Barbara Wolfe. What is in your glass?
Huh? What's in my glass?
Yeah.
I didn't go to the liquor store to get wine, so I've got a little bit of amaretto on the rocks here.
There we go.
There you go. Little amaretto. It's always good. So
Much for my noises. So Barbara,
Yeah.
tell us about your quilting business.
Okay, I am a long armor that does a variety of things. I do custom quilting. I do edge to edge. I do free motion. I do computerized, do ruler work. I do a little bit of everything. I started out without a computer, so I did a lot of edge to edge, by hand. I never used pantographs at all because I would get too bored with them. So I did a lot of free motion. I also do custom quilts for people if they want them. But I mean, I do a little bit of everything. The only thing I won't do is binding. I have somebody that does the bindings for me if somebody needs binding done.
I don't do binding.
No.
I don't think I've done binding in what?
I do binding.
Yeah, I have somebody that does it for me if somebody really needs it, so not a problem. But yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I've been doing it for, I don't know, about 10 years. My daughter-in-law got me involved. Usually it's the other way around, but she's the one that got me involved in doing it, and it just took off. And then I retired a couple of years ago, and then that's all I do is quilting.
And who else have you quilted for?
Karen Gibbs, Banyan Boutiques, Northcott, EBI Fabrics, Patience Griffin, who is another pattern designer, Jessica Vandenberg from So Many Creations, quite a few.
Yeah, so you do some big shots.
Don't tell them that.
As my daughter calls them muckies, so you do some muckies.
Uh-huh.
Mucky mucks. Now, if I wanted to bring my quilt to you,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell me to do?
I think the first thing I'd tell you to do is try to square it up. I mean, that's really important to get it on the long arm frame straight. Make sure there's no holes in it, seams that are open along it, because the foot of the machine can get caught in that if I don't catch it. If you have a lot of pieced edges, to just stitch around the edges about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, just so nothing pulls apart and it still stays straight. Pretty much that's it. And iron it and cut your threads.
Now, what kind of choices would you give me
For designs,
for designs? What would I pick? Would I pick batting and thread?
you pick batting. You can pick batting. I have batting, and I mean any kind you want. There's wool, there's poly, there's blends, all different kinds depending on what you're looking for. We have cotton, any of those types, depending on your preference. Depends on what you like.
Is there a batting that you shouldn't provide?
There are some poly battings out there that I don't like to work with. I don't know, they seem to pull apart too easily and they get holes in them. Anything like that, you find some of those at Joann's and some of the less expensive ones. And unfortunately, they do rip apart. So it makes it hard for the long armor.
And what about designs? Do you like to suggest it, or do you listen to the customer?
Most of my customers tell me, do what you want. They trust me. They say, you're the professional, Others, they come and I have a book of all the different designs. They'll go through that and pick something that they like. And then, I'll tell them whether I think it'll work or not, because sometimes it won't. But usually it's a collaboration, or like I said, a lot of people just say, do what you think will be best. And I haven't had a problem yet.
And what happens if you get somebody, because as you know, I was a long armor in one of my lives. What do you do when you get somebody that wants a specific color on the top and a specific color on the back, and they won't work?
I've had people that'll say, I've got a light front top and I've got a dark back, and I want dark thread on the back and I want light thread on the top. And I'll tell them, there is no guarantee you're not going to have polka dots all over your quilt. There's no guarantee. No matter how good your tension is, no matter how hard you try, there's always that chance you're going to get those little dots all over. Top, bottom, either way. So I always try to convince them not to go that route and to use the same color top and bottom, which I prefer to do. And I say, it gives you an additional design on the back if it shows up a lot,
And if anybody, besides me asking Barbara questions, Please send your questions to Barbara via chat. There it is. It's my boyfriend looking for dinner.
Your boyfriend's calling again, Linda. You got to give him the times.
Probably Google business alerts again. I was just waiting for that to happen.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
From Barbara, do you do
Yeah.
custom work?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you do custom work?
I do custom work too, yep. Like I said, I do edge to edge, I do custom, whatever you need.
And Amy would like to know, how do you decide how open to make the design?
How what? How close to make it?
Yeah, how open?
How
I guess.
dense?
Yeah, how dense?
I usually look at the design on the fabrics and see, kind of keep it in relation to the size of the designs and the patterns and the fabrics. I'm not a big one on these really big, loose designs. I like something, I don't like it real tight. I don't want it to stand up on its own if it's going to be used. But I don't like them when they're really, really loose myself. So usually I'm kind of in the middle there. Most people are happy with that, because they don't want them so stiff that they're like a cardboard when you're done. And so usually, it's somewhere in the middle of the road, that type of thing.
Now, are you finding a lot of the super show quilts that are like at Machine Quilters Expo and stuff? They're double batted.
Yeah, definitely. They're using like a blend on the bottom with wool on top. Some are using even 3 to get that definition. I've only done a couple like that. Not too many people have asked for that. I've done a couple of my own like that. I see somebody's asking, do I trim the extra batting off? When I give a quilt back to somebody, it's trimmed. It's trimmed all the way around. I like the way it looks better. I think, I don't know, it's just something I started doing when I started doing it. And I just have always trimmed the quilts unless somebody specifically says not to.
Now, here's a good question.
Okay.
Hey, when you long arm so glass. When you
Put the glass down.
Damn that bottle.
There you go.
When you go to enter your quilt in a show and you've had it long arm.
Yep.
Okay, a lot of people will ask about, did you do the quilting or whatever? If someone else long-armed quilt for you, what's the way that you would suggest that they word the story card?
I would always give recognition to the long armor. I would be for the person that pieced the quilt and everything should be the primary focus. But I think the long armor has added a lot to the quilt when it's finally completed. And they deserve the recognition of it. Along with the pattern designer. If it's not an original pattern, the pattern designer should get recognized too.
Roxanne would like to know, how much extra fabric do you like us to have?
4 inches on each side, so you would add 8 inches to your width and 8 inches to your length. That makes sense. Like if it's a 50 by 50 quilt, you would want a 58 by 58 backing.
Yeah, something that we were talking about last night. When people deliver their quilts to you,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're not exactly prepared the way you would expect someone to deliver a quilt.
Oh, I can show you a picture of one I got once. Hopefully everybody can see this. That's how I got the quilt top. The gentleman pulled up in front of my house, got out of the car, and I thought he was carrying a pile of laundry up the driveway. It was a story. His wife had made it like 2 years before and stuffed it in a closet and never finished it. And he wanted to give it to her for Christmas, finished. And it only took about 2 hours to try to get it flat after that. You don't want to do that to your long armor.
Yeah, there's definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what
I did. Somebody's asking, do I charge the customer? For something like that, I did. In general, no, I don't, because people give them to me ironed, but by the time I get to them, because sometimes my turnaround could be 8 to 10 weeks, by the time I get to them, I feel they need to be ironed again. So I'll re-iron them just because I like to. So
I got another question. How do you handle a lot of extra slack in the quilt?
oh dear. Well, if you've got borders
Like
that
when
are
you get mine.
yeah, you get a bottle of wine. You sit there, you get your spray bottle and your steam iron, and you get your spray starch out, and you just spray starch. You use a lot of starch, a lot of steam, and little by little you ease it in, and then you kind of pin it to death, and you manipulate it until you can get it so there's no creases or anything. Occasionally you can't get rid of it, all the bulk, so you might have to put a little pleat in it, but most times you're able to, if you have the patience to do it, you can get it out, unless it's really extremely bad, and then you don't have a choice.
Do you tell the customer? I mean,
Yeah.
do you tell them
Oh
that
yeah.
it stink?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always would tell them, it's the teacher in me that wants to help you.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
get away.
No, you give them ideas on how to correct what they're doing wrong. Definitely. They want to know. Most people want to know. Yeah, I've had people say, please, please, please tell me anything you see wrong. And it'll be the people that are the best pieces in the world that ask that. But, I mean, everybody is concerned. They want to make sure they're doing a good job.
Now, here's a situation that a lot of people may have seen or read about on Facebook, that someone won some money at a quilt show down here in Florida.
Yeah.
I think it was last year. She crashed the long armor or something. I don't know. It was something something that she did with the long armor. I mean, that's not right. You shouldn't put it in a show and put the long armor's name in and trash her because she didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And I think people that trash the winner because they think they should have won are crazy too. I don't think that's right at all. I mean, if you come in second and you say, I should have been first, well, and I've seen that happen with some professional, big names doing that on Facebook, and I just don't go with that.
I got another question. How do you keep the quilt square while quilting? By the time you're on your last row, you don't have a frown in the quilt.
I have tape measures on both poles on my machine, so I can keep it square as I'm going. I'll baste it down the sides as I go to keep it square. And then depending on what it is, sometimes we will float it, which means it's not attached to a bar on the front end. If it looks pretty square, but if it's kind of wonky looking, then I'll attach it to the bar in the front and then just keep measuring it all the way down.
You're getting them back pretty straight.
Yeah.
You did great jobs on all of ours. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Send more.
We have a contract for another book, so.
There you go.
Got a bunch more coming.
Okay.
Now, what's some of the common things that you'll find that people do? I mean, like back shortage or something.
Problem things. I've had occasions where people have given me backings that are 30 inches too narrow, 30 inches no less, where they've had to take them back and get a new backing or add something to it or do something to it.
It was not
Huh? It wasn't you? No, it wasn't you. Definitely not you. Nope. I've had quilts where there's holes in it from seams that popped. People don't pay attention. Things that can be difficult is the intersections of seams where it gets really, really thick. You have to be careful not to hit those because you can break needles doing that. And some people, if you don't spin that intersection, sometimes it gets really, really thick. So that can be difficult to work around. And don't put embellishments on your quilt before you give it to the long armor. Don't put the little sparkles or the little buttons or all that stuff. Wait until afterwards.
Amy wants to know, have you ever quilted a quilt less dense, and when you return it to the customer, they want more quilting? What do you do then? Because it's already trimmed.
I have never had anybody ask me to do that, to be honest with you. But I did have one that I had a problem with that I had to put back on the long arm after it was trimmed. And it was like a challenge trying to figure out how to do this. But what I did is I took muslin and butted it up to the side and just zigzag stitched it on and was able to load it back on the long arm that way without a problem. Because then it came right off when I took it off again.
What happens if you get a real stinky, smelly quilt?
You leave it outside for a while, let it air out, maybe spray it with a little Febreze or something. And I mean, these days I don't see it so much. There was a time when had a lot of smokers around, and you know they'd smell like smoke and dogs and stuff. But lately I haven't had that problem. I did go through a phase where a lot of people with cats had cats' hair all over things, and you know it's a lot of lint rolling to do, but you charge them. So, but
I'll admit this. So I'm not putting you in the spot. I will admit this.
okay,
I was doing a quilt for a very important person at the time. It was quite a while ago.
yeah.
And I had the batting down on my gammal, and we couldn't find my puppy, my dog Amber. So it had to be 15 years ago.
That was golden retriever, wasn't it? You couldn't find the golden retriever?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're calling her, could not find her. And when she finally emerged, she came through the center of the batting. And a gigantic hole in the middle. And it was horrible. I was like, what do I do to this person? Do I tell her that the dog came through the batting? How do I fix this?
What'd you do?
I cut it,
Yeah.
and then I had a hand-based, it was before the basting tape, and I had a hand-based another piece of batting that was straight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I learned to flip the batting over. And
It's amazing what you learn. I've learned how to put more fabric onto a backing while it's still on the machine, which is interesting.
You learn all kinds of things.
You certainly do.
I do that.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. Do we have any more questions for Barbara?
Anything else? Trying to see if I had anything else that I could.
Deb, you got
One thing that if you piece your backs, and I don't know what you think of this, Linda, but this is my opinion. If you're piecing your back and you've got the selvage in the middle where your seam is, I recommend cutting that selvage off, because when you wash your quilt, that selvage can shrink at a different rate than the rest of the fabric. Leave the selvages on the ends, but in the middle, cut that selvage off before you put the seam in. That's one suggestion I give to people.
Joyce would like to know, which machine do you have?
I have a Handy Quilter Avante. I love my Handy Quilter. It's been good to me. I've got a Pro Stitcher on it. I've had it for about, this one about 5 years, I guess, and have no problems with it at all, and I just love it. And I have the best service people too. The local quilt shop out around at Quilts here. I mean, if you want a Handy Quilter, this guy has got to be the king of service techs. So.
Patricia wants to know, do you ever wash backings?
No, I don't wash any fabric before I quilt. I gotta admit, I don't. And I would never wash somebody else's backing if I got it to quilt, and I don't wash my own beforehand.
No.
I'm brave. I just go for it.
Anybody else have any more questions before we
Anything
move?
else?
Oh, Siobhan wants to know, in piece backing, do you prefer iron seams open or to the side?
My preference for my own and for what, if people ask me, is to iron them to the side. I'm not a big fan of them open, because sometimes when you put the tension on the bars, after you load it on the long arm, it can pull on those seams somewhat. And it has a tendency to pull on it harder if they're ironed open.
Barbara would like to know, do you wash your batting?
No, definitely not. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Patricia would like to know, how about using Minky for batting?
For batting?
I'm sorry,
backing.
backing, sorry.
Backing? Oh, I love Minky. Minky looks beautiful when it's done. And I don't find, it's not hard to work with. I don't have a problem with it at all. Some people are afraid of it, but I've never had a problem with it. And I think it looks really great when it's done. If I had one right here, I don't think I have one with Minky right here. No, if I did, I'd show you one. But it really looks pretty when it's quilted. Almost makes it like a two-sided quilt.
Well, past hour than I do all day. More calls from past hour. Probably some terrorist organization looking for donations. All right, where is Deb? Just turned up.
Get tips on using Minky. Make sure you don't put the stretchy side from the pole to the pole. You want the stretchy to go from the left to right side, horizontally, not vertically. Other than that, just don't put too much tension on it and it's fine. And one tip, when you trim it, I know it makes such a mess because there's so much fuzz that comes off of that, but if you throw it in the dryer for like 5 minutes, all that goes away. It takes that fuzz off and it doesn't shred anymore. What thread do you like, or what do you, somebody wants to know what thread I like.
Yeah.
I like Glide thread. I have become a convert to Glide. It's a polyester thread, but I just love it. It comes with pre-wound bobbins, which make it easy. They last a long time. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it, so it's not shiny, but it's pretty. I also use King Tut, which is a cotton thread. Those are my two main ones that I use. I've used Signature. It's kind of linty. So Fine. So Fine's another one. But right now, Glide is my go-to.
I'll have to try that. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, it's nice. And the pre-wound bobbins are great. Anything else?
We're good. Barbara.
We're good?
Rock.
Huh?
And thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I
And
got to find everybody. So if we do a little drawing, I can't get it on my iPad here. Hang on a second. Got to pick somebody for a giveaway.
okay.
Let's see. Who do we
Barbara's
pick?
prize. Get ready.
Huh? You ready?
Barbara's picking her prize.
I'm just going to point to one of these faces on the thing and see who it is. Okay. Believe it or not, it's Barbara.
If you? No.
Barbara. No, I picked Barbara. Yeah, you, Barbara.
Barbara. All right. Wait a minute. No, you don't win it that easy. So what is in your glass?
What's in your glass?
Wait, I gotta unmute her.
Looks like orange juice. I don't know.
Orange juice, Malibu.
Oh, okay.
Malibu
That's
orange
good.
juice.
Look,
That's a winner.
that's a winner. That's a winner. And I got a craft size wool batting for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So just get us, send Linda your address and everything, and I'll get it from her and get it out to you. Okay?
Well, thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
I'm gonna mute you back up, and we're gonna. Deb, are you ready?
Oh, she's gone.
Here is she.
She left.
I'm muting that one. I have to mute this one.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're waiting for the video.
Can you hear me? Okay, excellent. Okay, you got
I think
video?
you went black again.
Hang on. Where's your? There we go.
There
Okay,
you are.
You got video?
we got video.
All set?
All set.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to tell Barbara I also have a handy quilter, Avante, and I really do love it. Well, I'm going to show you today. I'm not really 100% sure it's going to show up too well on the camera. But what I'm going to start out backwards and show you what I've made with it, and then I'll show you how I did it. This is called trash quilting, and it uses up all of your little scraps. I'm not sure if you can really see, but it's very glittery. And I don't know that it's something that I would wear, but it's something that make great purses and bags and so on, which is really my favorite thing to make. So this is that little bag, and it has a little beaded button. And I don't know if you can see all of the glitter that's in it, but this is one thing that I've made with it. This is another thing. This is another bag. You can see that it's got a little tassel to the end of it, and then a little flap
Deb.
that's made with the,
Deb, you're
with the
frozen.
glittery.
You're frozen, Deb.
Yeah.
Frozen. Okay, it's moving now.
Let's see. Okay, so this is a little bag with, you can see the glitter, the shine on it. So it's got a little tassel and it's got a little flap. Another little bag, the glitter. This one has a little velvet on the inside, and a little strap.
Frozen again. Frozen
You can see
again.
that bags are pretty much my favorite thing to make. Huh?
Hey, Deb, can you relocate to your office? Can you relocate?
Let me come out to my computer for a minute, and I'll show the bags.
Okay.
Can't really demo from there. I
I can't even find that video. Okay. All right, hang on, I'm unmuting you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm spotlighting you. Just let it, there we
All
go.
right. Let me try again. All right, so this is a sparkly bag. And this actually was one from Linda's first book, New York Beauty Simplified. So it's a combination of a trash bag and 2 New York Beauty blocks made into a circle, a little tassel. This is a Christmas stocking made with the same technique. See that it's very shiny. One more thing, you can use it to make, let's see, a little journal cover. And if you watched my demo last week with the selfage bag, the little Velcro bag, this is another one of those. And again, you can see that it's very shiny. And there's actually, we're having a virtual class, a 1-hour virtual class on how to make these. Right, shall I go back to my room and try to do the demo from there, or bring the stuff out here? Maybe I can just bring it out here.
Well, she does that. Ruth wants to know, why do you call it trash and what is shiny? She's going to tell you that in the demo. Because you're using your garbage. You're using your garbage. Okay, well, she's doing that. Well, she's getting ready. You know when you have your back, I'm going to talk for a minute, Deb, while you set up. When you have your back, your batting, if you have one of those creases that when it comes off the bolt, you have a really intense crease. Well, what I do is I use wrinkle release and I spray it into the crease, and then I put it on my long arm and I tighten it and let it dry overnight, and in the morning the creases are gone. So, okay. You ready, Deb?
Okay, give it a shot. All right. This is how you're going. I'm going to try to do this up and down and not, so I'm just going to try to put it on my shoulder instead, since I can't do this up and down. So you would start with your piece of batting. You're going to take your scraps, whatever scraps you have. I've decided this one's going to be purple. So I'm going to just overlap my scraps, like about a 1/4 inch is enough. Just want to make sure that in case they shift a little bit while you're stitching, they're not going to go anywhere. So just going to make sure every piece of batting is covered. And if you don't want to use scraps, you can do this with just one solid piece of fabric. But you just start with a piece of batting to do this. So you can see that your pieces are covered. Your batting is now covered. You're going to continue all the way down until you have a piece that's completely scrapped covered. Then you're going to take your embellishments. And this is one of my boxes of embellishments where I have all different types of yarns. There's some fuzzy stuff. There's some eyelash stuff that has little bits of fluff on it. Some that's a kind of that kind of yarn. And there's all kinds of sparkly yarn. Some of them come in little bags. I can even see on eBay that you can find places that sell you like 1 yard lengths of all different ones, like a combination of 10 packages of all of 1 yard lengths. And full disclosure, I have 9 boxes of these, all different colors. So I'm going to start with my fabrics, with my pieces. I'm going to take and I'm going to put down whatever it is that I want to put on top of that piece. So suppose I have a piece of purple yarn that I want to put on there. I will just take and I will cut a piece of it. It's hard to do this demo on my shoulder, but you're just going to lay it on however you want to lay it on. This is a good spot where you can use up, you know, those metallic threads that your sewing machine won't take. I don't know about you, but there are always machines that like one thread and not another thread. So I have all different kinds of metallic threads. Some brands will work, some brands won't work. I have some mylar thread. I have some thicker threads that won't go through the needle, but will go through for bobbin quilting. So I'm just going to cut off a piece of that and say, okay, I'm just going to cut off a piece of that. I'm just going to lay it on top of my fabrics. And I'll take some more yarns and cut some more yarns and put those on my fabrics. And then I'm going to take some of this. I like this. It's called Angelina. It's a fiber. It's very sparkly. You can see how it's glittery. Comes in many different colors. You can buy it online. You can buy it in a lot of shops. And what you do is to take your piece, take your Angelina, just lay it down wherever you want to put it to make it glittery. And then you're going to take a piece of bridle tool, not the real skinny kind that you use for kitchen scrubbies, but the kind that you would use for a veil. It's very thin. It comes in many different colors. For this technique, I like to use black most of the time. If I'm making something that's pastel colors, then I might use instead a white color or cream color, which kind of mutes all the colors and makes them a little flatter looking. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to take this. My pieces have shifted already, I can see. I'm going to take it, I'm going to pin it, I'm going to stitch. I usually like to do a stitch that's just goes one direction, then another direction. When I sew one piece, then I go back this way, then I go back this way, then I go back this way until I have everything quilted down as much as I want. You can also, this particular piece, the pink one, is actually a stipple quilted. So you can see that up close. It's actually stipple quilted. So you can do whatever kind of quilting you want. But once it's all quilted the way you want it, then you can make it into whatever you want to make it into. As I said, I like to make these little bags. I've made about 1 million of them for charity. And they're a lot of fun. But there's plenty of other things. That you use your Christmas scraps to make Christmas stockings, and you can make it into about anything you can think of that you would use a piece of quilted fabric for. It can be washed once it's done. I might be a little bit delicate with it. You can even, if you want to, put in sequins or buttons. You can sew through sequins. You sew carefully and slowly and do not pull on the fabric. You can't sew through buttons, but you can sew around them. So that would work too. So once you're done, you're going to make it into whatever you want to make it into. So this particular piece, I could make into a bag just by sewing the sides and boxing the bottoms and quilting the top, and then I have a bag. So that's what I have for you for today. Thank you.
Deb, do you remember the name of that quilt behind you on the wall?
Nope.
It
No, it was
wasn't
quite a while ago.
RJR.
It wasn't a magazine. Yeah, don't remember. Nope.
Back to me?
Back to you.
Back to me. Okay. I'm gonna just change the videos around. All right. Here is the tip that you signed on for and you wait the whole hour for. Ready for this? I search far and wide for these things. All right. This is a cupcake thing, paper, that you put in so your cupcakes, the batter doesn't get on the
Don't
pan.
stick.
I cut a hole in it, I put a straw in there, and I shaped it around my glass. It is cupcake paper. I am focused. I don't cook. It's cupcake paper, and it keeps the bugs out of your glass when you're having a picnic. Wait the whole time for that. My other thing is, I don't eat cupcake paper. I like to do paper piecing, foundation piecing, paper piecing, and I always encourage people not to get up after every scene to go press it. There's a lot of things that you can use at your area, your station, to press. This is called a wooden iron, and it's a stick, and it has, one is kind of, comes down like that. But there is no difference between paper piecing and foundation piecing. It's the same thing. Okay, so you can use your wooden iron to press. This is the Clover seam presser. Kind of loose. If you can hear that.
Up higher. There you go.
This is a little more expensive. It has a wooden handle. It's from Violet Craft, and it has a wooden roller. It's a little thicker than these. I think this one is about $10. This one's about $15, $14, $15. This is $1. This is a wallpaper roller. This is just as good. You can lose these just as easy. People will steal them, like your teacher will steal them. and it's easily replaceable. So you have your choice of different seam pressing items. All right. We have move stuff around. We have if you heard that bang, I had some stuff fall. We have coming out, we showed you about that quilt block. We have coming out, it's going to be an electric quilt add-on program. About that quilt block. It should be out very soon. You still need the book for the technique and the pattern, but you can do all your designing. We have quilts from the book, and we have about, what do you think, Deb, 10 bonus quilts in there? About 10?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have that. Deb's doing a virtual class on her Velcro bed on 1 o'clock next Friday. That's the 12th, June 12th. I'm doing a couple of electric quilt classes, intro to electric quilt, and then EQ 8 Beyond. And that's what the designers know. And we'll help you do some drawing, block drawing, edit the blocks, symmetry, all kinds of neat stuff. Those are virtual classes, have weekends and weekdays. Weekends and weekdays. So does anybody have any additional questions before we get to the good stuff? Levi is in a EQ Beyond class. Okay, you can still sign up. I'm doing one tomorrow. The one tomorrow, pick one, don't pick both, is a morning session from 9 to 12, and then we're doing another one from 1 to 4. Let us know who you'd like to see on. If you want a product reviewed, let us know. Call us about sponsorship opportunities. And yes, you can tell your friends. So I'm going to introduce our guest for next week. We have a lot of friends. Let me find her here. Where are you? There she is. Waving your hand. I'm going to unmute you. Let me unmute you.
Okay.
Next week, our guest is Cheryl Lynch.
Hey.
And you may know her from the mini mosaic quilts. I actually did one when I was on the road. Did a
One or
flipping.
two.
Yeah. She loves mosaics, and that led to her making a whole series of mini quilts. And she's a fabric line, and she's going to tell you all about that and her mini mosaics next week. So you don't want to miss that.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I know things about you, so
I know. Don't ask me what's in my glass.
Joyce told me. Now, what is in your glass?
I got it. So, you know I'm a teetotaler. It's diet soda. Am I going to get it? Yeah, I know. I'll do better.
You did. Where is Nancy Dill? There she is. Nancy Dill, one of our sponsors. Time for you to pick your door prize.
Okay, so whoever wins this door prize, you get to choose any of Linda Deb's patterns from our website at quiltwoman.com. So you'll be able to just go on there, choose the one that you would like, and then send us an email at customerservice@quiltwoman.com, and we'll send you your downloadable pattern. So let's see, I've got to put this on so I can see everybody. So I just got to pick somebody here. What if they already won another week and I didn't know it? Does that matter?
Well, no, they know better this time.
They know better? All right, how about, let's see, how about Levi? What do you got in your glass?
Let me unmute you. Hold on. We gotta hear this. Come on. There we go. Unmute. Levi, unmute.
Hi.
What
Are
do
you
got?
there?
We're here.
Okay, today it's just jalapeno limeade. There's nothing extra in it.
There's no liquor in there?
Not today. I didn't make it to the store for it.
Muted. Call us later.
Oh. So I got to pick somebody else? Oh, now we lost you, Linda.
Oh,
You muted yourself.
you did.
There you are.
Guys, where's? Yeah. Look, I'll get Levi your info. Okay, where's Deb? Thank you, Nancy, for being so generous and sponsoring us.
Oh, anytime at all.
What's your glass? You got anything?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I unfortunately, due to medical reasons, I cannot drink alcohol, but I have my flavored hint water. It's cherry blackberry today.
Oh,
Yep.
let's go.
Hey,
Bye.
all I can do.
Deb.
Yes, I'm picking. Who am I picking? Hold up your glasses. I need everybody to hold up their glass.
She's being safe. There's a couple of glasses I'm not
I'm
thinking.
I'm picking Stephanie.
I mean, unmute
Stephanie.
you.
Unmute. Okay, unmute.
Iced tea.
Okay.
What?
Okay. That's close enough. Let her go. Give her the beat. No, give her the buzz.
Make sure we get your email. Don't send it by chat.
Yes. Make sure we get your email.
Got a buzzer.
Okay.
Deb's done. And
Okay.
who's Patricia? Let's see. Let me unmute you. And
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look at that. An experiment.
It's a scientific combination of Habana Club rum, triple barrel aged that I picked up when I was in Cuba, and has a little bit of peach hint water. It's very good.
There we go. We got a winner.
Cheers to all.
Okay.
Make sure
Okay.
you get me your email to get your prize. So we got everybody, right? Debbie got one, I got one, Barbara got one, and Nancy Dill got one.
Nancy got one. Whoever got one, Nancy got one.
No,
Yep. All
Amy's
set.
saying I can never be muted. Yeah, I can, because I control the meeting.
So who do I give my email to? How do I do that?
Send it to me. I'll find you.
Okay.
Be right there.
Barb knows how to find me.
Okay. Hi, Stevie. Oh. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. I actually have a. So Fox Chapel, if you haven't registered for their, what do you call it? Their drawing that they're having.
Contest.
Their contest. It's still, I put a new link to it up on So What. We will have this recording up on YouTube because we actually figured out how to do that. And if nobody has anything else, do you have anything else there, Deb?
I think we're good.
I think we're good. And I even got
We're good.
a sound for that.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you very much, Barb. You did, whoa, whoa.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yay, thank you.
You did good. You did good. You did good. Bye, Joyce. Denise, we'll see you Monday.
I'm going to stop your recording.
Yeah, yeah.